Hi, and welcome back to Fandom After 93. I'm Brett Naven,
And I'm Matt Skinner.
and thank you again for the support this week. I think this will be a more happy show than the last one. We actually won, so um, yeah, that's good news. And I also want to apologize for not having the podcast up on certain websites, like iTunes and whatnot. I had some computer issues this week, and I have them all solved now, but yeah, it was a headache. So it'll be up there this coming week, and yeah, it's on. It was on Spotify this past week, which was nice. I know I use Spotify, so that was good for me. Um, but yeah, we said that we would read comments, and we're gonna do that. We'll go to the first one from Paul's project. He says, "I'm enjoying the podcast. Just two friends shooting the shit about Notre Dame football. Keep it up." Yep,
That's right.
that's right. And then we have another one from Destramus, I think it's pronounced. Says, "Good episode once again. Cal game was closer than I would have liked. Looking forward. Do you think Notre Dame can produce enough on offense to keep up with UNC? Pine not throwing more than 5 yards likely isn't going to cut it next Saturday." Yes.
We'll see.
In short, I think we'll get into that more when we get into the game. But yes, I do agree with you on that 100%. Yeah, but at least we won. That's a place to start, right?
Yeah. I think there's going to be a lot of things you can pull your hair out about this game. But at the end of the day, I think I was texting you, like, again, these are kids playing an emotional sport. And when you hit a negative slide in this game in college, that can just define you. I think sometimes it's hard to get out of a tailspin. We've seen that in recent years, 07 or 16. And so, yeah, just finding a way to win sometimes. I mean, hell, as much as I hated it, Kelly used to say that shit all the time. And they still, near the end there, those last few seasons, they had a lot of ugly wins. They still won. They
Yes.
still got into either big bowls or the playoffs. And, we talked about it before. Would you rather blow out those teams and then lose some of the other ones and not make those bowls or playoffs? No. Like, if it means winning 12 games by 1 point, it's fine.
Yeah, I'm with you
So,
on that.
yeah, ugly win. But I think there's some good tidbits to take out of it too. Some growing pains, but also I think some. I don't know. Once you go back and look at some of the highlights and look at some of the stats, I think there's actually some promising areas
Yeah, do
too.
you want to do your recap or whatever?
Yeah, I can do that pretty quick because let's see, first 7 drives, 3 and out. I honestly at that point was in that just cynical, like, this is almost hilarious, like an outside fan. I think my my friend is a Michigan fan. He used to be my roommate. He texted me a meme, and it was saying, if you know anyone who is not a Cal or Notre Dame fan watching this game on NBC, you need to call the authorities now to get them
Right.
registered.
I
'Cause,
heard something that we didn't have a first down until the second quarter. Just like, that's insane, man.
yeah, because that makes sense because their missed field goal came and then we fumbled. Yep. So yeah, 7 3 and outs. They had a pretty decent drive where then they just doinked it off the upright. And then shortly after that, Pine continued his pretty miserable first half, I would say,
No,
with
it's
a
very miserable.
fumble. They went the
And,
fourth
and
plays
the
short.
and the chewing out from Tommy Reese. That's been all over the internet as well.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, Freeman was getting on him as he went over the sideline there, which I don't have a problem with that.
Well, Freeman said in his postgame presser, he was like, I tried to, give him the old boost of confidence, like, come on, man, you got it. And then he
Yeah.
was like, that didn't work. So I went to chewing him out after that. And it's like, yeah, well,
Well,
there you go.
there's different ways of doing that, and there's also different times. Like, Holtz grabbing a guy who's a foot taller than him by the face mask. I mean, that's almost iconic, at this point. But like then there was the other, like, Brian Kelly getting purple and just kind of throwing a tantrum
Yeah.
almost. Like maybe it's situational or maybe it's just bias on who's doing it at the time. But there's a time and a place, and it's what you're saying too. And I thought, whatever he said, they came out that next drive and went 10 plays for a touchdown. I thought throughout most of the game, they didn't really go downfield too much. Some of the
No.
longer passes were runs after the catch. And I really liked that pass for the touchdown was a fantastic, and it showed me promise. That was like a
Yeah.
little bright spot that he looked off the safety, did a pump fake, and then he just found Tyree on the little seam route.
Yep.
And Tyree was he had motioned out and came back. That was a really solid play, but something that I think you and I are going to talk about more. Of all the good things from the defense that day, what was frustrating was anytime the offense gave them a positive, they seemed to just want to go backwards, and so
And
they
it's
gave
been
up a
like that
10
all
play.
year up
Yeah,
until yeah. So
they gave up a 10 play drive for a field goal. Notre Dame worked their way near midfield, couldn't, kind of stalled out. I told you this, maybe it was still a little far, but like when for whatever stupid reason Cal was not taking
you're
the
talking about the
timeout.
timeout, 4 seconds left in
Yeah,
the half. Yeah.
like I was like, all right. I even looked at my wife and I'm like, hey, if they don't call a timeout, we should call a timeout and just heave one, because as long
Yep.
as he doesn't get sacked immediately, the time's out. But they were at the 46. So maybe he doesn't have a long enough arm, but hell,
I
if you
mean, if
even
you're a
throw
college
it to the
quarterback, you
10.
should be able to throw the ball 46 yards. I mean, shit,
No,
I
no, no.
wasn't a
They were
college.
at their own
Oh.
46. And
Eh,
he's dropping back. So that's a 60-yard
yeah.
throw. That's pretty tough.
Yeah.
Um, And by the way, I skipped over this. I do want to highlight it because I'm a pretty biased fan for my favorite teams, but that was an egregious offside call that
Oh
kept
yeah.
the touchdown
That's
drive
the reason
alive.
we got the touchdown. That was not.
Sure,
I'll say,
and I'm
but
also
to even that out,
they
so
had
we
two
got that
drop balls
call.
that they
They
didn't
had,
review.
yes,
Yeah,
exactly. That
not
so
not
to
one, but
even it
even
out.
the announcer said I thought there was one on the last drive that they
Yep.
scored a touchdown on, and then the one they got the field goal on. So if anything, it evens out in their favor. And another thing, I used to think as a kid, I used to be like, oh, the refs missed this call in like the first half of a soccer game or a football game, and therefore it
Yeah.
screwed the game. Like you can't, unless it's the final play of
The Florida
usually
State game,
basketball.
pass
Or yeah,
interference. That's the one
exactly.
that was
Florida
called.
State game is an example, or like a handball in the 90th minute or something.
Right.
Then it might be on the refs. But and I don't even watch the Cal coach's post game presser, but I don't know if he got on them for that. Started the second half real well, 3-and-out for Cal, and followed by a nice touchdown drive.
The best drive of the year, I thought.
Was it that one or their? I thought it was the one later on, the one that they hit for 24.
Okay, maybe it
Um,
was that one. I don't. Both the drives in the second half were
yeah,
pretty good.
yeah. I really liked. I think it was the second one where they were. I don't think they even hit a third down. They did hit a 3rd and 3. But yeah, they just had better play calls, better execution. Again, they're clearly going to cater to him to make him comfortable, especially at home and after some of those early jitters. Honestly, kudos to Reese for
Yeah.
seeing that like, hey, the dude's who are you going to go
Well,
to next? I don't even know who the third string is.
so the issue I agree with you. Like Reese making that adaptation was great. Um, but this is the fact that he didn't do that against Marshall bugs me, and the
Yeah,
fact that it took him a half, and you could put blame on Pine too for that first half. Like I'm not
right.
excusing him. Um, but the fact that it took him until the second half of this game to realize that he needs to just cut down his playbook because they were running maybe 5 different plays in the second half. Like
Yeah,
I know it wasn't like that was what they were doing, just 5 different plays pretty much, but they were working. So you don't have to mix it up. Like you have a struggling football team. They just need confidence. They need confidence. Just do what is working. And I think he finally did it. I don't know if that was his decision or Freeman was like, listen, just dumb it down, and it worked. That was the best. That besides the first half against Oklahoma State since Kelly's left, that second half was the best football Reese has called. And I know it wasn't like, you know, crazy designs,
Miraculous
but
or
it
anything.
doesn't
Yeah,
have to
sure.
be that,
Yeah.
like just put points on the board, man.
You got to play with what you're given,
Right.
for sure.
And they got more
Uh,
touches to Tyree too. Thank
yeah,
God.
and honestly, of the two sides of the ball, I was probably a little bit more disappointed on defense.
Hmm.
They still made some big plays. It's unfortunate that the first interception and fumble were negated. Rightly so. I mean, that was just an idiotic targeting that happened
Yes.
moments before it was intercepted. That's a good call. And then the fumble, he was down, which that was just a weird play, like trying to desperately heave it out. It wasn't even fourth down.
Yeah.
But what was weird about those were that like it just kept the game alive, and I'm like, every time I kept thinking, all right, finally we've sealed this and won
Yeah.
our first game for the season.
Nothing.
Finally,
This is
oh,
one of
and
those
also
teams like
knock down the
nothing's
ball.
easy, man. Nothing's
Yeah,
easy,
no,
And yeah, knock down the ball. It's just I texted
I
you, and I'm
oh
I'm
yeah.
gonna paraphrase what I said because I don't want to re-say it. I said super smart kids in the classroom, idiots on the field. Like
Yeah,
that
it
was so dumb.
inexcusable. Like I don't even think, because I used to worry that if you were a smart offensive receiver and you got everyone in that little pile, if they're smart, they're gonna knock it forward. So stand
Mhm.
forward and maybe they knock it towards you. But I mean, it's still worth taking the chance. Just knock it straight down. I think two Cal guys, the one had it on his chest, which it's floating in a weird way and it's not spiraling anymore.
Yeah, but
So
he should
it wasn't
never
like it
have
was an
that
easy catch.
opportunity.
No, exactly. Like if they had caught that, it would have just felt like we're not meant to win a game
Right.
this
Yeah.
year. I mean, it would have
It,
tied it, but yeah,
and I've been the past 2 weeks, man. Like I know we won, and I'm so happy we won.
right.
It's I don't care. Just winning's a better feeling than losing.
Yeah,
Any day of the week. And yeah, but these runs at the gym after these games are the most therapeutic thing I've been doing.
I
Just
bet.
the end of that game, I was like, "What the hell's going on? Like, what am I watching?" That's what
Yeah,
I just kept on
yeah,
wondering. Like, God, I'm gonna kill myself watching this team. Like, I'm not myself, but like, they're gonna kill me. Just
right.
watching this. It's just they won though, so
They did.
that's nice.
And I'll say, they scored on the first three drives of the second half, and then I don't blame them for the final three and out because they were
No,
just trying to run off the clock. But
I
the
even
other
texted you. I
drive,
said just run the ball 3 times. Like,
yeah,
I
and
don't
I
care.
was fine with that. The other one was a 5-play punt, but in the grand scheme of things, on average, is when you play a Power Five team, you're probably not. I mean, I don't know. We'll find out how good Cal really is by the
They're
middle of the season, but
yeah.
you're not going to score on every drive. So having that punt in there, fine. But that was the
Punter's
only one where
Punter's
they.
the best player on the team right now, dude. That
He
guy's a
really
G, man.
is.
So good.
uh, let's see. We got Pine for 150 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Got 150 on the ground about, so
Yeah.
much better day. I think from better run
Did you
calls. I
notice
think
something too this game? Remember last week I said they didn't run the ball to the left side? How many runs this week were to the left
either
side
down the middle or to the
or to the
left. Yeah,
left? Yep.
yeah.
They played to their strong side. Yep.
And honestly, on the receiving, Tyree got a lot of touches, but spread the wealth. I mean, let's six guys got catches in that game, and Mayer only got 2. He did
Yeah.
finally get a touchdown. Um, I'm still seeing misreads on the receiver's part, and that's not going to help when you have a
And
quarterback who's still
drops.
trying to build confidence. Yeah, Styles, who I still think is our best true receiver.
Yeah.
Maybe Lindsey, I don't know, but that
No,
one
it's
that just went right
Styles.
through his
No,
hands.
yeah, we're good. Sorry.
Yeah. And then on defense, I'm going to get to this in our pros versus cons of the game, but 6 sacks and
Yep.
8 tackles for loss. I think when they played to their ability, they were just bull rushing and getting in there and breaking the gaps. But I think the most frustrating part of that was the quarterback, this gangly, not very fast quarterback getting long runs with his feet, and that's just on the linebackers coach or on not having a spy or again just linebacker awareness, not knowing where he
Yeah.
should be based on where the pocket is forming. But yeah, and then we already talked about the punter, badass punter, got himself another
Unreal.
big
Kicker's got a
day.
leg too. I know he missed one, but that was the offside call. And
Yeah, so it didn't
so
matter.
I want to say this
Um,
real quick. I thought the play of the game was when he made that field goal, that 47-yarder. I think that made it. Did that make it 17-17 at the time?
yes, it did. That
Okay,
tied it
I
up.
thought that was the play of the game because they drove the ball down the field, and if he misses that, I just have a feeling the team's like,
Yeah, it
shoot,
was early.
you
That
know?
was the first play of the fourth quarter there,
Yep,
and then immediately the defense did respond with a 3-and-out.
yep.
And then, like you said, the best drive of the season probably was right after to take the lead for the good. So yeah, no, it's weird again in this emotional sport with kids on the field that something as seemingly trivial as a field goal. I mean, if they miss that, that can galvanize the other team too. So
Nope.
I think that's a good point. So
All right,
yeah, that's
let's
it for the plays and the stats.
okay, let's get into. We'll just do an overview like the offense. We'll go by position. O
Yeah,
line. That's the best they've played all season. I don't think you can put much of the first half blame on them. I thought a lot of that had to do with quarterback play, but the O line, that's what I've been expecting most of the year. Mostly in the second half. The second half they really turned into the unit that I thought they were going to be, and that was good to see.
yeah.
Um,
Um, I think one thing on the O line that was pretty frustrating was still the amount of
yes,
stupid false start. That first drive. Well, granted, that false start was actually on the receiver, but then yeah, like you said, we didn't get a first down until the second quarter. After that, and just these stupid boneheaded penalties kill you.
especially when you're a struggling team, you
Yeah, and
got to eliminate penalties.
a quarterback who's not a veteran by any means,
Right.
you're not doing yourself any favors when your captain, I think, had at least one, maybe two, and then they had back-to-back false starts on one. And I think at least two times, maybe three, it was third and manageable and became third and long. And it's just like, guys, those are the plays that just piss you off to all hell, you know? So something that
Yeah.
hopefully he stand drills into them this week. And that partly goes back to understanding the play calling or audibling. But they should have been used to that. I'm not going to put that one on Tommy for play calling. So
Nope. I'm with you on that. Wide receivers. I mean, Jaden
mixing it
Thomas
up.
is like he's just a body taking up space. He does nothing. And like I'm not trying to shit, but he's not good. Lindsey, I don't know. They I don't expect much from Lindsey because he's not a like I've said a polished wide receiver. They did get him on some jet sweeps, which I thought was good.
That's a good
Um,
one for him for sure. Yeah,
yeah, let him
and
use his
you can
speed.
fake that too. You know,
Right.
you motion him and then you can fake
And
it
he
to
could
get
even
the
go on like a wheel
ends.
route or something,
Yeah,
off that.
exactly. Yeah,
And Styles, he had a few drops, but I have faith in Styles, and I guess you can throw in the tight ends there. They seem to be doubling Mayer all game, and um,
that's fine. That
you
opens
know,
somebody else up.
he's gonna get his though. He steps up in the big moments, and he did that. So
Honestly, they ran Tyree and Estime not just in the huddle at the same time, but also
on the
out
field,
for what I meant out for passes at the
yeah,
same time sometimes.
yep,
And I like that because like you were saying, like you're not blessed with just a myriad of talent right now out in the secondary. So you're gonna need to put other talented guys near where they can touch the ball, and that's Tyree and Estime. So
yeah.
I liked that.
I know you said you're not sold on Estime. And I have some
I thought he played well. Yeah,
complaints about his. There's times where I think he wants contact, and I know
yeah,
he's a big dude, but it's like you got a little room to your left, try to make the room. But
yeah.
that's kind of nitpicking. He's
He's done well.
dude on that catch. I mean, he got a little ahead of himself and fell over, but still, that's a great
He
play. And
wasn't going to
then
score. I was a
yeah,
little like pissed at the turf on that one, but they had him closed on both sides. I think he tried to fake the left guy, but he would have hit the center guy anyway.
yeah, but
But no, I think
two good
you're right.
backs.
If Kyron last year was faulty of trying to find the gap too often and juke himself into a loss, I think Estime doesn't try to. Like they're both on that side of the spectrum for moving too much or too little. I think Tyree hits a pretty good balance. I don't think he's an elite running back, but I think he's a very good running back
Yes, I agree.
and a very good receiver too.
Yeah.
So
QB. I mean, we kind of
terrible
touched on
first
it.
half.
First half was some of the worst quarterback play I've ever seen.
He fumbled 2 snaps.
Yeah, and so I understand. He grew up a Notre Dame fan. Like this is
Love to
his
hear it.
dream. I think he just he needed to breathe. Like he was
Yeah.
trying to do too much. Like just play football. And I do think Reese chewing him out, and then the touchdown drive in the first half, and then you got him into halftime, and they probably shook him a little bit, like like just chill out, man. Like just play football. In that second half, he came out and he played. I mean, he didn't play brilliant, but I mean, he played mistake-free football in the second half and just made the right plays. And that's that's all this offense can ask for right now is just
Yeah.
make good reads, make solid plays, and he did that. And that second half of football is, I mean, the best half of football I've seen us play since probably the first half against Ohio State. So I was happy
Yeah.
with it.
A couple really solid drives, better play calling. I was actually trying to go through and see. I think he had how many incomplete passes did he have in the second half? Only one. Let's see. Two. Two incomplete passes in the second half. There you
Yeah.
go. So much better half for him. And again, it's not going to be. It's still a form of football that's boring to like people like my wife who there hasn't been a really sexy play on offense or I mean defense has had a couple of nice sacks but not a big turnover, not a big return, not a 25 or longer pass or run play. I mean, I guess some of those touchdowns have been just beyond that, but you know what I mean. There's nothing
Yeah.
crazy about this team, and that's fine. It's not who we're going to be, at least not for the first few games of this season.
Right.
And it's fine. You got to be an all-around team.
But okay, we'll go to defense. The defensive line, the second half, that is the defensive line I've expected from the beginning of the year. They finally seem to wake up. And I know, like you said, they haven't played terrible, but like when you have that much talent on that line, like you just expect, at least I expect more. And that second half, they really stepped it up,
Yeah,
and um, got a lot of pressures. You said they had 6 sacks. Like, it's what you expect. Foskey was making plays. And that's, Jason Adamulo was making plays, and that's what you expect.
yeah.
That's what you expect.
No, and I think if there's to your point of like the defensive line, what I meant they haven't been bad yet is a good or even a decent defensive line can get exposed on play. They're not going to get to the quarterback every play, especially
Right.
against better teams. It's when the linebackers aren't backing you up. And I'm not saying the linebackers haven't had some decent blitzes themselves or some decent coverage, but on the plays that they've been exposed, it's looked bad. And that hasn't helped them. And to the point, again, I don't know on every time, maybe sometimes it's D linemen, sometimes it's linebackers, but I was going to put pressure excellent this game. tackling. He spun out. This is not an elusive running quarterback. At least
No.
I didn't think so. And he got out of a couple of them and was either able to throw it away, throw it downfield, and then 2 plays in the second half, he ran for like 20 yards each play, which is just you can't blame. The secondary was there to do max
I think
coverage.
part of that was they were doing man to man with too high safety, like you said, with no spy. So,
No,
you
there
know,
was a spy. He just ended up joining in on the line.
yeah.
I don't know if he was told to do that, but I don't know. I'm fine with having 4 and you drop the other guy back. That would be what, dime coverage, and yeah, just have the guy kind of fall to the side of the pocket that he would naturally be flushed out of.
Yeah.
So the most he gets is 5 yards, especially when it's 3rd and 8 or longer.
Right. I'm with you on
Ugh.
that. Like, first
One of
down,
them was 4th
whatever.
down.
Yeah, fourth down. I mean, yeah, I'm with you. The
It was,
linebackers, I guess
yeah,
we'll just, like we're already in, the linebackers are, I mean, they are the weakest link on this defense right now. I don't think there's any question about that.
yeah.
They just, man, I'm trying to think. This, they're showing, especially the past 2 weeks, is about as bad of linebacker play I can remember in a while at Notre Dame. And that's crazy to think because the defense has been by far the best unit on the team, but that doesn't excuse them from being called out for their play because they just have not been good enough. And I don't know if that's on their skill level or their size. I know our linebackers aren't very big. They're kind of smaller and faster guys, but I mean, tell me a
Yeah.
play in the game where the linebackers made a play that you're like, oh, that's a big play. I can't
Well,
name one.
and that's where I'm gonna really need to try to look at numbers a little bit closer to understand who on some of these blitzes it's them, right? Or at
Yeah.
least helping cause the pressure. But yeah, nothing is standing out. And again, plays that come to mind the last 2 games were passes where they're not sharing the coverage adequately on that second level. They're not in that back level with the secondary, but
Mhm.
they're giving up some of those mid-range throws. And then again, both games, there's just once that running back or even quarterback gets to the second level, they're not in the right place. So secondary
Second,
though,
yeah,
yeah,
Cam Hart, secondary. So I heard a stat. The secondary, for as well as we've said they've played, they had given up. They had, how do I want to word this? They had the second worst completion percentage against in college football, meaning that they've given up more completions to quarterbacks than any other team besides one.
more
Um,
completions are a higher percentage.
Higher percentage, sorry.
Okay.
So quarterbacks are completing passes against them. But this game, the quarterback went something like 17 to 36 or something. So
Yeah.
much better.
16 to 37 for 184.
Yeah. I still like Cam Hart, man. There's times where I'm just, I don't know. I expect more out of him. I expect him to be making better plays. His guys get open way too much. I feel like a lot of the times he gets lucky. Um, I don't know. I just expect more out of him. I think our best corner it's been Tariq Bracy. I don't think there's really much debate about that. Like Tariq Bracy has been really good, and then probably I'd say Cam Hart's probably been the fourth best corner this year. I'd say you go Tariq Bracy, then Ben Morrison, and then Clarence Lewis, and then Cam Hart. That's just what I think.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah, and I think
safeties.
it's.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say it's been disappointing to not have an interception yet. Like
Right.
at some point, averages just need to work out. No matter how good your stats might be, you would just figure that a good secondary should have an
We haven't even had
interception
a
by now.
turnover, dude. 3
I
games
know.
without a turnover. It's crazy. Safeties, Brandon Joseph, he's good. I mean, he's a good player.
Yeah.
DJ Brown had that hit on the goal, like at the 5 yard line, man. That was a hit on the cow guy in the second
Oh, he
half.
went face mask and face mask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a good hit.
Yeah. And props to
He
keeping your head up. That's an easy one to get ejected for.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought overall defense second half. I mean, the team in the second half, just in general. I know it's not pretty, like you said, but that's the football team we're gonna have to be until things start to click. And they may not click. This just may be who we are. But if
Yeah.
that's the case, then the second half of that game needs to be the blueprint for the season.
Yeah, I agree. And then I guess we can just finish it out with some, like we already touched on. We're
Mm.
big fans of punting here on the tandem after 93. Punter obviously has been solid again, and let's also give credit that he's got a leg. He's not out kicking his coverage.
Nope.
He had one they kicked there late into the end zone, but I think they actually
They
rushed
were trying to
everyone.
block that, yeah. So
Yeah, and I know this isn't his audible to make, and I don't think a coach is going to make that either. But like, if they're clearly bringing 10 guys, your gunner is open. I mean, you got to trust because you can't
I
miss
don't
that
know
throw.
about
And I
that,
know
dude.
nobody's missing that.
I don't know,
This is
but I know what you're saying,
me
but
playing a video game here, but like, I'm just
yeah,
saying he's wide open.
yeah.
But yeah, that was the only one. Place kicker got saved by the egregiously bad offsides call by the ref. But then, yeah, I think under pressure, tied the game in the late third, early fourth quarter. So
Nope,
good for them. Returners getting a couple more punt returns. I'd
nope.
still like to see a little bit better um, coverage on the opposing gunners. And then on the kickoffs, I thought they did much better. They were
Yes.
gifted the one because of that unsportsmanlike penalty. And he still made something of it. He still, I think, had 15 or so yards on the return to start out at the 40. So, yeah, special teams is also improving, which I think is an underrated part of our team the last decade. So,
Yep. It could only get better, honestly.
how did LSU do? I don't even know. I just want to keep
Uh, they beat
following Brian
they
Polian.
beat Mississippi State. So
Oh, really? A
yeah,
conference game, no less.
yeah, they did. They pulled
Well,
away
I
late.
hope I'm literally gonna look at special team stats for LSU all
Yeah,
year just to
go ahead.
see. All
All
right.
right. Well, really no big games in college football this week. I guess the one that we can point out is BYU Oregon, since it's on our schedule, and
Yeah.
Oregon shellacked them. So who knows? But I mean, I don't think we're as good as Oregon right now for sure. Um, but that gives me a little more hope going into that game in 3 weeks. So
Yeah. I get one other game that kind of popped into mind only because our Kramer friend, we have a friend who just kind of pops in unannounced, takes our food and
nice.
whatnot. He's like a Fairweather fan. He's born in Poland. Funny guy, love the guy. But so whenever Florida's doing all right, like he's like, oh yeah, I went to Florida, and I didn't even realize they had lost to Kentucky in week 2.
Hmm.
I was pissed that they pulled it out against Utah in third consecutive home game. Apparently, South Florida did everything possible to lose that game. And they just kept messing themselves up. Still had the lead 20-24. Florida came down and scored. And then South Florida drove again to get into the red zone and I guess snapped it over the guy's head for like a loss of 20 or something.
God.
Yeah, bad. Couldn't even tie it. So too bad South Florida didn't do that against us. But anyway, yeah, I
Yeah,
can't
new
think of anything.
segment. Here we go.
Oh, is it? Let's do it. All
Yeah, it's
right.
that time, dog.
So we're gonna do this little thing. We can announce it at the front. Maybe next time we'll do a little what we're planning to do. But
Okay.
a little history section as I have less and less been able to keep track of all the players coming in and out like my esteemed colleague Brett has over the years. But I am probably closer to that old timey Notre Dame fan who just lives in the past. But I think it's important to remember the
Yeah.
championships because otherwise, who cares the next year, even, right?
Shit.
And so
When are we
this,
gonna get the next one? So we got to remember the ones in the past.
exactly.
So.
And besides even the championship years, Notre Dame has a million different memorable games and
Hmm.
plays. And so, let us know what you think. I'm going to do a little bit of both this week, but we'll either do something that happened this week. So, the week of September 18th to 24th, I guess it would be this week. Sometime in the past, the way they sometimes do it at Notre Dame Stadium. Or we'll also maybe do a little history lesson of the team involved. And so this week it's a little bit of both. I'll start off with a little bit of North Carolina history.
Okay.
Let's
You gonna
see.
tell me about how
So,
Lawrence Taylor did drugs while playing football?
or didn't they create an entire class that was just
Yeah,
fake?
for
And
him. Yeah.
we lose games that we still claim from the
Yes.
NCAA because we told on ourselves for one guy getting improper tutoring, and they created an entire fake class, denied it, was investigated, and didn't lose any of those wins. So there's the efficiency for you of the NCAA. But no, our longest. This is just a short one here. Our longest unbeaten streak, not winning streak, that was Lou Holtz, 1988-89. Unbeaten streak was under Frank Leahy from 1946 1950. They won the first game of 1950 to make 39 ties or wins. They had a couple ties in there, 3 national titles in there against
Yeah.
North Carolina. So North Carolina was the last time that they would, before losing the next game. That was a little tidbit, but the more
Okay.
important one was 1975, going down to not Winston Salem. Excuse
That's
me.
what is
That's
it? That's
Wake
not Raleigh.
Forest.
Yeah, is it Raleigh? No, I don't know.
No, it's Chapel Hill.
Chapel
Duh.
Hill,
Come
yeah.
on, going
Oh.
down to Chapel
I
Hill.
like Duke in the North Carolina Duke rivalry, so I don't care. So
Oh, that's Durham and Chapel
yeah.
Hill. So Chapel Hill, Dan Devine's first season, having a little trouble on offense, not getting anything going, and so it's scoreless in the first half. Goes to the second half. All of a sudden, Notre Dame starts fumbling, 14-0, and they end up getting a touchdown back. Go for 2. This is back in the age when you would go for 2 early to try to set yourself up for the win later. Missed it.
Hmm.
So it's 14-6, 5 minutes left in the game. Enter Joe Montana.
Oh,
Joe Montana's first entry into the legends that is Notre Dame football, and he didn't miss a throw. 5 throws. I'm actually gonna send Brett the links. I'll see if he can try to enter them in, maybe onto the details section. Some good throws in there. Leads him down the field. Has one for like 40 some yards. Gets him down to the 2. They run it in. They go for 2 because they missed the first 2. He's under pressure, finds a guy in the back of the end zone, ties it up. North Carolina starts driving down the field, ends up trying to go for it on 4th down to kill the game with a minute left. Don't get it. And first play, they were just trying to do another one of those little out routes, and the guy fell, and the safety takes an angle on the guy, and he just does like a little stutter step, gets him flat-footed, and goes almost 80 yards for the go-ahead touchdown. That
jeez.
was the first of many for the comeback kid's legendary career, both as obviously a college and professional football player.
Yes. You
And then
true
finally,
story. 1 second. True
yeah.
story. In high school, we had to write a like a 5-page paper, and I wrote mine on Joe Montana. Yes.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I got an A
About his
on it.
college career
So
or about
yeah, about
just
his time
him
at
in
Notre
general?
Dame. Yeah, I did it. Well,
Nice.
I think like most of it was on Notre Dame, obviously, but
Right.
I did add a little bit at the end about his pro career. Like, oh yeah, he's probably the best quarterback ever to play in the NFL. I left it at
Thanks, Tom Brady, you piece
that.
of shit.
Right. That was before Tom Brady.
Yeah.
So
Um. Also, I've seen his little Guinness commercial. This is Joe
yeah,
Montana
I like
recently.
those commercials.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't realize I knew they used to have traditional freshman teams, so you couldn't play for the varsity. They had 2 teams, and he said he had worked his way down to the bottom of
It was
7 on the
7.
depth chart of
Yeah.
freshman
The
quarterbacks.
hell?
That's just insane. Oh. And then hey, what did they say? Michael Jordan got cut from a team in high school. Well,
Yeah.
Joe Montana ended up bottom of the freshman depth chart at Notre
I'm
Dame.
here doing a podcast. Probably should have been a star in the NFL. No, I'm just
Hey,
kidding.
you always were able to find me on those backyard
I
games.
know. We were the best.
We were the best. Finally, I was looking around on. I love this little Notre Dame football database. I was just looking around. You can filter it by date. I was like anything from September 18th to September 24th. Well, perfect, because today is September 19th. 35 years ago, on September 19th, 1987, and I definitely recommend, hopefully, like I said, this link will work, but if not, I would just type in uh, Notre Dame, Tim Brown, Michigan State, because the game and the two plays that really made this man's Heisman Trophy a possibility
The punt return, right?
was two punt returns back to
Yeah.
back. And actually, if you watch the video, they interview him for part of it, and he's explaining it. And he said he was still tired. I guess they went 3 and out. He was so tired from the first one still that he was just trying to catch it and go out of bounds on the second one. Well, the Michigan State guy like tries to cut him off, so he has to cut upfield, and all of a sudden he sees nothing but grass, and his guy's coming back. So he's like, "Well, now I have to go for it."
Right.
And so all there was the punter, and he's like, "I had this thing where if you let the punter touch you, you failed." So he sidesteps him, he jukes him pretty good, and
Yeah.
yeah, two touchdowns for Tim Brown on punt returns on his way to the 1987 Heisman Trophy. So
Well deserved.
number
Well
19,
deserved,
well
Heisman.
deserved. And I love listening to him. He comes on the Chris Zorich,
Hmm.
his little show, and he's always well spoken, understands the
Classy
game.
guy. Yep.
Classy guy, still understands
Which is crazy
what
that
it
he played
takes.
for the Raiders. No, I'm just kidding. But
He played with Rocket one year.
yeah,
There's a card my brother has of both of them.
Rocket and
But yeah,
him are like night and day. Rocket's like crazy.
I
Not
love Rocket when
crazy, but
he's
he's super upbeat. And then Tim Brown's like, yeah, we're
just
just
chill. Yeah, yeah,
chilling. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, that's what I got for history. Let us know what you think of the section. If you like more on the dates or on the teams, or we can do, we'll just mix and match depending on who we're playing and what date it was. So there you go.
All right. Um. Okay. So I liked it. I enjoyed it. Let's get into North Carolina.
Yeah,
I'm a little scared. I'm not gonna lie. Uh, Going there. Thank goodness it's a 3:30 game.
I was
I
just
think
gonna say that.
that's an
Yeah.
advantage.
Yep.
But North Carolina, their defense not very good, but this
No.
offense seems to make defenses look pretty good. So, but their offense, that quarterback, like the comment said earlier, we're going to have to score some points because they're going to get theirs. So, I, I don't know. We're going to have to score some points. So, or we're
Yes.
going to have to do something along the lines of not identical to Ohio State, but run the ball, eat up time, limit possessions. But the problem with that is if you limit possessions, you better make those possessions count on your side. So,
I agree. However, Florida A&M, Appalachian State, regardless of what happened at Texas A&M,
mm,
I mean, you could look at what happened to Marshall. This is a game where, except for a few teams, you can play night and day different. Yeah, it was at Appalachian State too, you know, uh, and they still put up 61, and then Georgia State puts up 28. Like
yeah,
I think hopefully Tommy has a few plays that he's willing to open up a little bit more, and like you said, not a night game. I remember a couple years ago, it was the pandemic year, right? They had to play a night game with that fluky pass. Or was that a couple years before? Was it Ian Book who threw that like weird pass deep in their own territory to get the first down
oh
to one of
yeah,
our tight ends?
yep,
That was at night. I hate playing these type of like Virginia Techs or North Carolinas, at night on the
yeah.
road.
Because I mean, that's you go on the road to their place.
Yeah,
That is their biggest game of the year at home. So when
yeah,
it's during the day, I mean, it's still going to be loud, but it's not going to be what it is if it was at seven
yeah.
o'clock or 8 o'clock. Yeah.
Well, the other factor that again has, I think, a lot more weight in college than it does professional. And I haven't gone through this season to see how many teams have this, like in previous years, but they had a bye week, early bye
Mhm.
week, which clearly has happened before. These teams do it intentionally. We try to generally put it about halfway through the season, usually before a bigger game, and not like in front of our game against, I don't
Yeah,
know,
it's usually, I feel like
Navy
it's
or
usually
something.
either before USC or the Shamrock Series game is what I've noticed.
Yeah, when it's USC at home, you mean,
Yes.
in like October. Yeah, and so uh, it does have a little bit more weight. I feel like, especially bye week and going into a home game. These are the little intangibles that can make a difference. But I think for Notre Dame, they're gonna come out with a more confidence, both offensively and as a team. They won their game. They're playing better. The defense should come out fired up. I don't think that, as good as North Carolina is at putting up points, they maybe haven't seen a defensive front quite like Notre Dame's yet.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm not I'm nervous, but I'm not terrified yet, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah. And one thing I do want to add is, sorry, I just went blank. I'm trying to remember what I was going to say. Um, what was I going to say? Oh my God.
Bye week,
Oh yeah,
bye
sorry.
week.
No, I think with this team, it it might be a blessing in disguise to get this to just go on the road and get away from playing at home. Um, I don't know if they're putting pressure on themselves to perform in front of the home fans, whatever. But if you go on the road, it's just you and your teammates. You don't have to worry about your parents sitting in the stands. I mean, I'm sure some parents will be there, but um, you just go and play football. And maybe that's the best thing that could happen for these guys is to just go on the road and go play football and stop worrying about what's going on
Yeah,
campus, you know?
yeah. I
So,
I I'm a little disappointed. I'm gonna have to, I guess, watch it on replay. I have a wedding to attend. My
ugh.
cousin, or my wife's cousin. Should be a fun
Oh,
time, but I
okay.
will not be able. I will be in contact. Please don't feel bad if you're gonna ruin the score for me, because I'm not gonna try to keep it a secret. But
Oh, don't
yeah.
worry, I will.
Let's see. The last time I missed a game like this was my own wedding, but I did, on the way
Yes.
between our wedding and the after party, was able to watch us kick the winning field goal last year against Virginia Tech. So I'm hoping for something
Nice.
like that, because it looks like the ceremony's at
I was
4:30.
on my way driving back home because I blew out a tire on my way to the
Well,
wedding.
you had your own wedding, I think, to go to
Well,
too.
but yeah, my cousins, yeah.
Your cousins, yeah,
Not mine. I'm not married. They
yeah,
didn't
not.
know when they're putting up with me yet. So,
So yeah, I will not be able to watch this live, but I will definitely try to go back and watch some of the some of the drives on Sunday or Monday. And yeah, prediction. What are you feeling?
mm, are we going to see first half Cal Notre Dame, or are we going to see second half Cal Notre Dame?
That's a good point. Is we've had a lot of games in recent years where Notre Dame just seems to struggle to get going, and I was hoping that a new coaching staff would bring a new personality, because I don't
Because
think we can
we
play that
can't
way.
get down 14-0. We just can't. There's,
Right.
this team's not built to get down and come back from that. Especially with our receiver situation and quarterback situation. I think the first
Yeah.
10 minutes of this game is really going to be huge in what happens if it's
Can't have
tied or,
three, four, three and outs. Yeah.
yeah, like if it's tied or we're up by a touchdown or even if we're down a field goal, as long as we're in the game after the first 10 minutes, I think
Yeah.
that's a good thing. I'm gonna say 28-24 Notre Dame.
Okay. You're a completely different person on the podcast than on the phone, texting the day of the game, because we're not going to win 4 games.
And, that's what I'm saying. Like if we see first half Notre Dame Cal, like we're gonna get our ass kicked. I don't think there's any question. I think we're gonna get
Sure.
our ass kicked. But I'm really hoping like this team's such a they drive me nuts. I can't get a read on them. Like
Yeah.
if if the second half Notre Dame team shows up, I think we can win the game, a close game. I really do. But if the first half Notre Dame team shows up, then my prediction is 45-20 North Carolina. I think they'll wipe the floor with us. But if the second half Notre Dame team shows up, I think we win like 28-24, maybe even by more. I don't know, but that's just my prediction.
I'm actually kind of with you, and similar to my Ohio State game prediction that this will actually be lower scoring than their previous scores would indicate. I think if we play to our strengths and play with discipline, turnovers, penalties, I think we can do it 31-21. And honestly, I would love to see, and on the road, I would think you would
I already
almost
know what you're
have
going
to
to say.
see
A trick
a
play.
turnover.
Oh, I thought you were going to
Oh,
say a trick play. I'm sorry.
I you know I do like those at certain times. I always feel that they save them for some of the bigger games
Yeah.
in those key moments. I don't know, but I was saying a big play both on the special teams or on defense.
Yep. I agree.
Um, and we haven't had one
Help
of
this
those yet.
offense out.
So
Help this offense out.
yeah, so we'll see. But yeah, 31-21. And I'm sticking to it.
Okay. All right. Well, this podcast is shorter than usual. I think it's because we didn't have much to. I mean, there is stuff to complain about. Don't get me wrong.
I think it's a good length. I think shorten it up a little bit. I don't know. What do
Yeah.
you guys feel like? Let us know, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else you want to add before we close this out?
Yeah, I don't know. We go into a bye week after that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
And then BYU
So
after that. Yeah.
yeah, no, I think this is a good time to put a solid full 4 quarters together. And sadly, maybe I'll be happy I won't be watching it, but
Yeah.
I'm a little sad I won't be watching it live. But yeah, you bring home a winner for us, and
If
we'll
they
have
win this game, 2-2 looks way better than 1-3. Um, I know
so
last
many how
week,
numbers.
and the Cal game was a must-win game for sure. It
Yeah,
was.
absolutely. Yeah.
Um, I'm not going to say this is a must-win game, but this is the type of game where you win last week, a close game. The team might be getting some belief, even though it was ugly as hell. And they go into this week and they win, and maybe that's when you see things start to turn the corner. So big. I mean, it's a big game. 1-3 is way different from 2-2. So
Yeah. No, I agree. Which reminds me, one thing we forgot to cover just briefly in the around the country. Marshall lost, of course they
mm,
did right after. So
they
what?
did.
Bowling Green
Yes.
in overtime, I think.
Yep.
So there you go. All the props we were trying to give them, like maybe this is a
Nah.
solid mid-major team. Nope,
I
just
said that it
played
was
like
one
world
of the worst
beaters.
losses ever. Yep. Yep.
I still don't think they're gonna be like a 3-9 team, but yeah,
No,
I
but
I thought they were gonna go like 11-1 with the Sun Belt, and nope,
no,
they
that's what people
lost.
said last year after the Toledo game too, and then Toledo ended like 6-6. So
It's a
um,
it's a wonky sport, and that's why we love it.
it is, and that's why it's the best, man.
It's true.
Um. All right. Yeah.
Anything else?
Like I said, I'll have it up on iTunes this week. I set up a thing for Pocket Cast. It'll be on there. Podcast Addict. I gotta find a way to get it on there. It's not linked in with where I post the thing at, but we'll get something for it. But like I said, it's on Spotify and Anchor right now. If you have those, you can listen to it on there. And yeah, um, please continue to leave us comments, engage with us. Like hearing from you guys, questions or comments. Saying that you enjoy the episodes. That's good. It makes us want to do them more. At least it makes me want to do them more because I know some people actually like listening to us. So thank you. Yeah, like, subscribe, do all that, share it with everybody if they like listening to crazy people like us. Hopefully they enjoy it. But yeah, that's it for me. Anything
Yeah,
else?
go. That's it. Go Irish.
Yeah, go Irish. Let's make it 2-2, baby. See you guys.
Later.